You are writing for a story. Wait, what do you mean we're not writing for a story? You are telling the story of why church authority, from the Renaissance humanism to the scientific revolution, why and how it got weaker and weaker.
But we have to mention the moral and other stuff.
Moral meaning beliefs, moral beliefs. Beliefs about what is good, what is bad, what is right, what is wrong. In the Middle Ages, there was one answer, what the church and the Bible say. Little by little, that changed. It started with the humanists in the Italian Renaissance, spread to the northern humanists, and then went to the scientists, and finally to Locke and Bacon and Hobbes, forget Bacon, Locke and Hobbes and Montaigne and all those people. Okay, so that's the moral thing. The scientific thing, I think that's the easy part for you. You know how scientifically the flat Earth's round, Ptolemaic worldview, Earth is in the center of the universe, Copernicus. You know all that, the scientific stuff, that's easy. But it is the moral and the religious stuff. What are the three categories there? Moral, scientific, and on the review sheet? And religious. Religious views. Look what happens at the end. We have Thomas Hobbes, an atheist in England, saying, not only is there no God, there's also no soul. So even the view of the soul, the belief in the soul, a religious belief from the Christian Middle Ages, is now openly called into question, openly doubted and challenged by humanists 150 years later. It starts with the Italian Renaissance, but look what happens after Newton, especially. After Newton. Why Newton? Because the reasons that the stars and the heavenly bodies move are the same reasons that this falls right here. Same reason. It's natural law. There's no need to believe in God anymore because Newton has explained what we used to think was a miracle. It's not a miracle anymore. Newton explained it. The heavens have been explained. So if there's, according to Hobbes, if there's no God, why do we need to believe in a soul? The thing that goes to heaven after we die, if we don't believe in God. Do you see how religious beliefs, from humanism, which was Christian, to the Enlightenment, became more and more and more challenged? We've gone from dogmatism, Catholic Church, absolutism, only one truth, to skepticism because of the Reformation, Luther arguing against the Pope, two authorities saying different things, to scientific revolution. Now the Bible is in question because all these things the Bible says about the universe are no longer true. Earth's not flat, blah, blah, blah. To finally people saying, we doubt it all. We don't believe in the religion at all. That is what happened in Europe from 1300 to 1650. 1700, the Enlightenment. 1700, the Enlightenment. The story starts with Pico, basically, and it ends with Newton and Locke and Hobbes. And what we see is the church slowly, slowly, slowly sinking and sinking and sinking. And humanism, starting with just art and ideas and logic, suddenly becoming scientific and turning into modern science. That's the story. So, the Gama went around the Cape of Good Hope. Are there any other Portuguese explorers? What did the Gama do once he got to India? How did he behave? Were the Europeans as civilized as the Indians and the Chinese trading there for a long, and the Muslims trading there for a long time? What's your evidence? They had guns and weapons, and when the Indians, Chinese, and Muslims weren't really interested in what they had to sell, and also didn't really want to trade with them, what did the Portuguese do? What did the Portuguese do? They used violence, they used force. And they did conquer a couple of cities, Calcutta, Goa. But did they try to conquer the entire India? No. Portugal was about trade. Good. Portugal just wanted to trade. So they would conquer little areas where they could have a trading post, a fort, basically. Who's our second country to explore? Spain. And the Spanish explorers, who is the first one? Oh, first, who are the people responsible for Spanish exploring? Who are the people that supported the Spanish explorers? Ferdinand and Isabella. Ferdinand and Isabella, okay, and... Oh, well, that doesn't help. Yeah, because they were the king and queen of Spain. Okay, that's better. So they're the king and queen of Spain. What did they do in 1492? Columbus. But before that, what's the other thing that they did? It's on your list, and this is very important. The same year that Columbus and them explored, Ferdinand and Isabella did something. The Reconquista. If you know how to look at words, you see conquist, you figure that's close enough to conquest, it probably means conquest. Reconquest. Reconquest of what?
They took the Muslims from the country.
So reconquest of Spain from the Muslims. And remember, and this is on your map, the map part, the Muslims did have all of Spain for hundreds of years. And Christians were fighting back against the Muslims for hundreds of years. Ferdinand and Isabella won. They did that. So, how are they going to feel about other religions after fighting Muslims and expelling Jews from Spain? What's their goal when they start finding new territories? The New World. That's the Reconquista. Okay, Columbus. We'll get back to that. Columbus. Real quick, we know Columbus. What did he discover? The Caribbean. If you get an island near Cuba, right now, south of Florida, those islands, that's the Caribbean. That's where Columbus landed. The New World. What did the discovery of the New World do to the religious authority of the time?
They split their religion.
What did it do to the authority of the church and the Bible? Why do we call it the New World? They had no idea that God's creation had two other civilizations, two other continents on the other side of this flat ocean that was supposed to have an edge. What is that going to do to the authority of church teachings and the Bible? There is another world on the other side of this planet. God's word tells us nothing about that. It, again, upset things. He finds a new world. Why does he go? What are the 3 G's?
Gold.
What's the biggest G? God. They're going for gold for Spain and themselves, glory, because they've been fighting Muslims for hundreds of years. They're military. And God. After Columbus, and Magellan, he went around the world. What direction did he head in?
Missing one.
Okay, and somebody grabbed a power strip. Did they ask for the charger? Some girl came up?
Don't give it to him. Who was it?
Oh, I already did.
Oh.
Do you guys know who she was?
Gina.
Sheena?
Gina.
Gina?
Don't worry, I'll sort it out next week. Okay.
Do you know Gina?
No.
Okay, it might be one of Philip's. I don't know. Okay, thanks. All right, so Magellan went around the world. Enough of that. What does that do? You've got to think on 3 levels here. Did it do anything to the moral beliefs? The moral teachings of the church? Magellan says the world is round. Does that in any way change how people see morality? the church's version of good and evil, good and bad? You have two possible answers, three actually. Yes, it was very important. It did change the way people saw moral questions of good and evil. That's one possible answer. Another one was no. The earth being round has nothing to do with what the church taught about good and evil. Your third possible answer, Yuhi, is, well, it changed it a little bit or some. So either none, totally, or some. What do you think? The world is round. What does that have to do with good and evil? Anything? The different cultures will come in later, and that's true. But the fact that the world is round as a moral thing, what is the biggest effect? The world, scientific, good. Okay? Again, you're looking at three things as you go through all of these events. Three things. Our understanding of good and evil, right and wrong, sin and salvation, true or not true. Science, our understanding of the scientific world, fact or not fact. And what was the other one? Oh, our understanding of God. True or not true? Those are the three things that you have to keep looking at as you look at all this evidence. Well, the world is round. Obviously, as Susan said, that's a scientific fact. Okay? That in terms of church teachings, unfortunately for the church, it was teaching that the world was not round for 1,000 years. Okay, so that's Magellan. Do we have any more Spanish? Balboa? The heck did Balboa do? He's not on the list, is he? He's not on the list. Balboa's not on the list. Okay. Who else do we have? Zheng He. Very interesting as a comparison. Zheng He is from where? When you compare Zheng He and... I'm getting a... Sorry guys, you're just going to have to do your best. When you compare Zheng He... Wait a minute. I think I'm about to make an emergency snap decision. That only people who watch this. Forget Zheng He. As world history students, he's the Chinese explorer who 100 years before the Portuguese took a much larger navy, much larger ships, from China, Ming Dynasty, to India, Arabia, Africa, and instead of doing what the Europeans did, just made trade and political alliances with it. And then the Ming Emperor just stopped one day. And if he hadn't, would we all be speaking Chinese right now? Because China was far, far, far more advanced than Europe at this time. Okay. Are we done with the explorers? Okay.
Wait.
Treaty of Tordesillas. Do you ever wonder why Brazil speaks Portuguese and the rest of South America speaks Spanish? Portugal found Brazil. Spain claimed South America because of Columbus. Remember, Portugal found Brazil, but they didn't really do anything with it because they got there by accident. Right? They just left, didn't do anything. The Pope solved the argument between Spain and Portugal about who gets South America. The Pope, by saying, okay, we'll just draw a line. And Spain gets everything to the east of that line, west of that line, and Portugal gets everything to the east. And that's the Treaty of Tordesillas. And that's why to this day, in South America, people speak Portuguese in Brazil, Spanish and everything else. Because Portugal was told you cannot expand any further than that line. Interesting trivia if you're ever at a party and the conversation gets boring. Do you know why? In Brazil they speak Portuguese and everywhere else they speak Latin. Okay, bad humor. All right, next. Enlightenment. Where do we start with the Enlightenment? Where did we start? Okay, the Christian matrix is the medieval worldview, as we've talked about. Bible and church's authority for original sin, fallen man, flat earth, Ptolemaic worldview. What is Ptolemaic? P-T-O-L? Yeah, and we don't pronounce the T, I mean the P. So Ptolemy is the scientist, and Ptolemaic is the adjective. So the Ptolemaic worldview, the geocentric worldview, geo meaning earth, so the earth is at the center worldview. That's a main part of the Christian matrix. Okay? What are the heavens? They are crystalline spheres. Crystal, glass, spheres, balls. The heavens are a series of glass balls, one larger than the other. And that's what the planets and stars and sun and moon travel through, these glass balls. Because if they didn't, those glass balls would fall to the earth, right? I'm sorry, the planets would fall to the earth. They pictured them as being up there because they look really close. The universe was very small in the Christian matrix, the Christian worldview, the Ptolemaic system. So, okay, since this is such recent material, do I really need to go over it in depth? Copernicus. PowerPoint? Yeah, they're all in there. You got to be careful with some of those PowerPoints, though. Copernicus, what did he discover? That is, the Earth is not at the center, because it makes a lot more sense mathematically to put the sun in the center, because then all those orbits of all the planets are much easier to figure out if you just change position and say that everything goes around the sun. So that's Copernicus. Got him in trouble with Council of Trent ideas. The Inquisition. Didn't get him in trouble with the Inquisition, because when did he publish the book? The year after he died, yeah. He left instructions to somebody else. Okay, what's the difference between the Enlightenment and, say, Greek and Roman science and Renaissance science? What is the main huge difference that makes the Enlightenment closer to the modern world than the Renaissance? In the Renaissance, people started using logic. What did the Enlightenment add to that? We went from now not just logic and thinking about stuff, but also proving stuff in science. But what is scientific proof? That came out especially with Copernicus. Think about it. What language did Copernicus use to prove mathematics? Okay, the Enlightenment. What becomes the authority for truth now? Mathematics. Because it is a truly universal language that anybody who can count and study its laws can understand and correct. An equation is not true because Einstein said it's true. An equation is true because we look at it if we can read math and satisfy ourselves. It is true. I've read it. And in fact, people have since looked at Einstein's stuff and corrected him. Einstein is not the authority. William Einstein. Einstein is the, it's his middle name. Einstein is the mathematics. That's a great middle name. What are you talking about? Oh, I'm sorry. I'll edit it out. It's 18 minutes and 39 seconds. Okay. So, okay. Oh, that's not exploration anymore. That is what? Enlightenment. You know, helio means what? Sun. From the Greek god Helios, sun. Okay, so Copernicus, heliocentric. There goes the medieval worldview, factually, mathematically. Math as truth now. Notice, not the mathematician. We're not worshiping, we're not following, we're not believing or obeying the authority. We are agreeing with the truth of the math itself.